Hi, and welcome back. If you're now joining us, welcome. Let's resume our concurrent sessions, and our next presentation is with Maya Mutu. Maya is going to be talking about facilitating community wellness at the National Gallery of the Cayman Islands. So over now to our presentation.
Hello, my name is Maya Mutu. I'm the Education Manager at the National Gallery of the Cayman Islands. And today I'm going to be sharing about our Art and Wellness program, which we kicked off earlier this year in April. So art and wellness, as with all over the world, the implications of COVID-19 have really had a huge impact on our local community. And we anticipate that that will do so long into the future. Fear about the disease, isolation caused by social distancing, and of course, economic pressures. Again, with a lot of the region, I think our tourism industry in particular has taken a lot of pressure. And of course, this lack of ability to really plan ahead for our futures has created a lot of increased anxiety and stress, and that's across all areas of society. So we see this from our children all the way through to our elders. Art and wellness was created as a multifaceted response to this feeling that pairs our beautiful indoor and outdoor spaces and our national art collection, of course, with new wellness workshops to really create a space for mindfulness for our community and contemplation and healing. So of course, I talked about the effects of the pandemic as really being the catalyst for this program, but NGCI has had a much longer term commitment to working with the community in order to help them access the healing powers of art. And we've created programming, everything from seniors tours, which are kind of tours and tea, to art programs for those in rehabilitation at both our male and female incarceration centers, and at alcohol and drug abuse rehabilitation programs as well. Programs for at-risk youth, for specific community groups that work with mental health, domestic violence, child welfare, and a whole host of other different types of issues and concerns. And through these programs, we've really had the opportunity to witness how incredible art can be as a healing power and a form of addressing different traumas and concerns that people deal with in their day-to-day lives. And the Art and Wellness program has really given us the opportunity to create a much larger public program that addresses and supports wellness. So on top of all of our individual public outreach programs, we now have a public program which is at our site and virtual that can access all of these different parts of the community at once. So we know obviously that there's been a lot of debate over recent years as to the role of what museums really are. Some people believe that they are a space for the collection and display of objects. Some that it is a space for community inclusion, and so there are still museum experts who lead the charge, but the community is included. And then others believe that the museum is really a space in which the community takes a much more active role in responding to and supporting the museum as they actually produce programs and activities. So we think about what the role of the community is in the museum, but I think for this particular program, an even better question is, what is the museum's responsibility to its community? And so when we considered that for the Art and Wellness program as we were building this, we really kind of had to go back to brass tacks and just think about the real foundation of our organization and what we stand for and our mission, vision, and values. And I won't be dry and read out every single word that's on this slide, but you'll see that inclusion is a huge part of what we do, inclusion and accessibility. We have a very diverse public in the Cayman Islands, people from all over the world, people from all different walks of life. And it's incredibly important for us as a community organization to be able to support individuals from lots of different experiences in life. So inclusion and accessibility is huge. And we've done this in a couple different ways with art and wellness. The first thing is that every workshop or event that we host in this program is a free opportunity. So everyone has financial access to this program. The other thing that we do is ensure that our marketing for the program is accessible as well. So we don't only use virtual marketing, while that is extremely important, and we've seen how powerful it can be, particularly over the last year and a half. There is still a very big digital divide in a lot of ways. There are many people who do not have access to virtual marketing or online programs. And so we make sure that we have sort of physical and in-person marketing as well. We can do this through flyers and calendars, through things like appearances on free radio shows, and then connecting with our community and industry partners. That's been a really valuable way of communicating information, particularly for the education department of our museum. Working with those community groups who, at risk of repeating myself, who are working with other parts of the community or smaller communities within our broader community, who are dealing with very specific issues and concerns. And then, of course, when we do use the virtual marketing, we do things like social media, our website. We actually worked with a marketing company for the Art and Wellness program to produce a social media schedule that really helped to get the word out about this, this accessible opportunity. And then registration is a huge thing too. I think sometimes people forget that people's access to programs can be sort of, there can be a wall there if the way that they register for them is difficult, right? So we have a couple different registration options. Again, we don't limit it to just the virtual. I know a lot of places have moved to a kind of automated virtual service for registration for events, but we do a kind of combination approach so that we have those online email registrations, and then we also can take registrations via phone or in person as well. So what do we actually offer in the Art and Wellness program? We really wanted to create something that had quite a breadth of different opportunities, resources for people. So we've got everything from physical well-being to mental well-being, to just sort of general mindfulness and slowing down kind of practices. So we do offer yoga classes. These are typically done about twice a month. And we do them outdoors in our garden and also indoors in one of our gallery spaces. So people have the opportunity to do their yoga practice sort of surrounded by these beautiful gardens and nature, but also with artwork around them. So they're two different experiences, but amazing, both in their different ways. Nutrition workshops. We've done everything from mindful nutrition to intuitive eating to nutrition for parents. So these are taught by Taryn Stein, who is one of our partners for this program. And I should say that for the yoga classes, we typically work with Janine Martins, who I know will be leading one of the yoga sessions for the MAC conference this year as well. We have introduced quiet hours. So this is just a great opportunity for people to come in an hour early, grab a chair. We have additional seating now, and just spend a little bit more mindful time with an individual artwork. I know I can speak from personal experience. Sometimes we go into museums and we just want to see everything that we can really quickly. We don't know when we'll be back, so we kind of race through the exhibitions and don't necessarily really sink into an artwork. But this is kind of an opportunity to spend a lot more mindful time with one piece or two pieces and just sit, maybe sketch a little bit, grab one of our mindfulness worksheets, and just spend a little bit more time with one thing and kind of slow down the looking process. We also offer meditation, and this is in person and virtual. At the end of this presentation, I will show our website link, and you can go there if you're interested in doing our virtual meditation. These are typically led by Mirabel D'Acunha and Jerry Bavell. Those are our two meditation experts. And Jerry will also be doing a meditation as part of the MAC conference. We have teen open studio drop-ins, and this came from a partnership that we have with the Alex Panton Foundation, who are a mental health organization primarily for young people in our community. And they really expressed that one of the things that teenagers needed was just a space in which they could express themselves through creativity and art, and not necessarily an instructed lesson. So that's what these are. These are just an opportunity for young people to come in and have access to free materials and just express themselves creatively in a safe space. Healing circles are something new that we've started doing with Nikita Kissoon, who is originally from Trinidad, but living in Cayman now. And just a space, again, for people to have very open conversation in a non-judgmental environment, to share a meal together and share conversation and sort of talk about anything they want to talk about. It doesn't have to be something particularly heavy, just allows people to share space together. Lifestyle workshops. I talked a little bit about the seniors events earlier with the tours and teas. So we do these bi-monthly with the generous support of EY Cayman. And that's an opportunity for seniors to kind of reconnect with each other, socialize a little bit, share stories, and just enjoy some complimentary tea and cake and get a tour of our gallery from the curatorial team. Self-guided garden tours. We are currently developing these, and we're creating little pamphlets with Hannah Reed of Bush Girl Medicine, who is really working to unlock a lot of the traditional information around plant use, both medicinally and culturally, in Cayman. So guests will be able to grab those from our reception desk and use them to explore our gardens because we do have a lot of really interesting plants just on our site. We have an open garden policy, so anyone can come and use our gardens. We encourage it, come in after work, have, a sit down with friends, or bring your lunch, do a meeting there, bring in a family, have a play in the gardens. So we really encourage people to really think of our space as a community space. And then labyrinth walks. We have an amazing labyrinth on our site as part of the gardens, which uses this idea of sacred geometry that can be found in cathedrals all over the world. And it just creates a nice, quiet, mindful walk. And I just included this little bit of feedback, which was quite nice to receive from a guest. And we luckily, have been getting quite a bit of this, and just, it's incredible really to see the ways that just very simple programming in a lot of ways can really transform lives. So what's next for this program? Summer is coming to a close, students are going back into schools, and Cayman is sort of approaching new phases of our border reopening. So we're continuing to monitor trends really, and see what's happening with the pandemic, see what's happening with other sectors of the community, really listening to feedback, having open dialogue, and reviewing statistics. And with everything that we do, the Art and Wellness program is really designed to adapt to the needs of our community. So it's not a static program. There's always opportunities for it to change and grow and expand. So we're committing to introducing new workshops, both in person and virtually, in Grand Cayman, but also expanding into Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, and then just discovering new ways to be more accessible in reaching the community. So with that, I'd like to say thank you for having me. This is going to conclude the pre-recorded part of my segment, and now we're going into the live Q&A.
Thank you so much, Maya. We've learned so much this morning. You're doing marvelous work there in the Cayman Islands, and I think you must be feeling very, very proud this morning. So let's go into our Q&A. Are there any
first
questions?
of all, before we take questions, I just want to say thank you again for having me here. Yes, I'm feeling it feels strange watching myself back, I have to say, and re-listening to that moment. But yes, I'm very excited to be here and looking forward to your questions. I guess one thing that I can start with is I don't think I really explained sort of how we're defining this term of wellness. And I talked a little bit about kind of having a holistic approach and including lots of different forms of wellness, from yoga to meditation to nutrition workshops. But I think wellness can really be defined as not just physical health. So not just, working with your body or the things that you eat, but also really making sure that we include mental health, which is so vital, particularly in this really intense time that we're all living in. So with this program, it was really all about mixing those two things and making sure that we had, you know, kind of an overarching approach to this, so that we do have quiet hours and mindfulness worksheets and those teen drop-in sessions that really encourage, you know, support for mental health and support for mindfulness and just the feeling of slowing down in really hectic times. But then, of course, including that physical health stuff as well with yoga, which is kind of a combination of both mental and physical health, and then nutrition workshops too. And we do actually have some more virtual nutrition workshops that have just come out on our blog page. So I do encourage people to check those out too. So again, we are continuing this mesh of physical and mental wellness and virtual and in-person sessions. So I just have a comment here, which is very lovely to hear. Thank you, Michelle. It says, wonderful presentation, an important connection for the locals during the pandemic. As you said, mental and physical health. I hope the program continues. Yes, we definitely hope so as well. And like I said, this is a program that is really intended to change and grow and shift. I think wellness is something that is always changing, and the things that we each personally need in our lives is always changing. The things that we need as a community are always changing based on how our context changes. So yes, I think the community, the program has a lot of room for evolution. Like I said, we've brought in even more virtual sessions now, and we are hoping to do some more things in the sister islands, and then also not just physically at our gallery site, but in the community too. So actually going into community spaces that are maybe a little bit more removed from our site and working with some people there through workshops. A question here, how do you connect the themes from the gallery with wellness? That's a great question. So, wow, I think, well, art can talk about so many things, right? I mean, any subject in the world, you can have an artwork about it. And I like to think of art as really a form of meditation in and of itself. So much about the creation of art, but also just the process of looking at art is about slowing down and looking at details. Whether you are, you know, painting something that's realism or abstract, and you're really working on colors or forms or shapes, how that story comes together, or whether you're just sitting in a gallery looking at a piece and just working your way from looking at the very top of a piece all the way around to the middle and to the bottom. It's about that slow looking process. And that theme of slow looking and mindfulness and detail orientedness really exists in any artwork. And so that's a great way to tie it to wellness. It's just that idea of slowing down. If we think about individual themes of artworks too, I mean, I can think of things like our current exhibition, which is called Terra Botanica, and it's a botanical show. And in that show, a lot about plants that have medicinal uses. So thinking about these ancestral ways of working with nature around us, and embracing some of the wellness that can come from nature itself. And that's really reflected in those artworks. Hope that answers your question. Okay, I'm going to pass it back to Susan. Thank you so much for your questions, everyone. And I hope you all really enjoy the rest of the conference.
I guess, Maya, that you were so complete in everything that you said that you had no questions. But I'm really, really very happy for you. And congratulations to the National Gallery of the Cayman Islands. That was really, really an excellent presentation. You should be proud of yourselves and for the work that you're doing for your community. So that concludes this session. If you still feel, if any of you, want to talk to Maya, of course, you can always ask questions or connect with her Just click on the networking menu on the left-hand side of your screen, where you will scroll through. You will see all the names. And if you want to connect with Maya directly, Maya would be happy to speak to you on that forum. So click on just click on networking. Remember, and to follow up on this community wellness, our next session will be clearing energetic pathways with Caribbean dance. And that starts at 10:30. So after wellness, after we've been introduced with wellness with Maya, we will be going in and dancing. So clear up around you, get yourself into action, and we'll be dancing in a little while. Thank you so much, Maya. Thank you to all of you who are here with us. Once you don't forget that there's a chat icon. If you want to know what sessions you want to see for the rest of the day, just click on sessions, and you'll see everything. We have 2 great days full of fun, full of knowledge, and we're here for you. Mac is so happy to have you all here with us for this conference 2021, our virtual conference. Thank you very much, Maya.
Thank you again for having me.